Hello and good morning. Welcome to Marital Television. My name is Max Hurd, and sitting next to me is Stuart Dolby. We are here filming from the Hart Hotel. This is the second half of the show where we talk about more cultural issues, usually, and energy matters today on every Wednesday, actually. Just to briefly go through what's happened, what's in the headlines today. Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid have quit at the same time. And we already have their replacement, so it looks like Boris Johnson was sort of expecting this to happen or knew it was going to happen. And everyone in the headlines are saying that supposedly he's on his last leg. It's not looking good for Boris, apparently, and it's not looking like he's going to get re-elected. Is what we're hearing from the mainstream media, but we are not mainstream. So that's what's been going on in the headlines. There hasn't been a single different headline. Every single one has been about the Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid thing that's going on right now. But we'll start off the show today by going into energy matters. And that's your part of the show, Stuart.
Right.
What is going on in energy?
Good morning. Well, as far as I'm concerned, recently I wanted to sort out what my energy bills were going to be, and I looked at my smart meter, and it said for the cost of energy for the first for this year, which is 6 months, was £5,530. And I said, right, jolly good. Shortly after this, I got a letter from EDF, my supplier, which says that your bill for 3 months from March to June, from the end of March, April, May, June, 3 months, end of March to end of February, was £641. And I thought, hello, what's this? My smart meter said this and so forth. So I phoned them up and I said, this can't be right. My bill is 641 because the smart meter said that for 6 months, my bills came to £530. So that's 6 months, but for 3 months, you're telling me it's £641. And I said, I want some money back, because I paid you $250 a month for 3 months. Okay, so that means you owe me £250. And they said, oh no, we'll give you £100. I said, no, you won't. You'll give me the right amount. So we had a row and so forth and so on. And I then kept arguing and so forth. And they said, well, look, the thing about that, I found an article in the Sunday Times actually, which read, help, my smart meter is lying to me. Aha. Now we're getting one. This was a lady who runs a jewellery shop and is not stupid, and she got a row with Octopus, and she was told as follows. She challenged her £160 bill with Octopus, and they emailed her back saying, display units, smart meters are not the same thing. Same thing. Display units are just a gadget that shows some information received from the meter. They are not always correct. Scott said, I believe I was misled by Octopus by using more energy than I intended. She asked for a refund and began legal process to claim £160. So I went back to EDF and I said that I am going to take legal proceedings against you and so forth and so on. But I was absolutely outraged. I think they owe me money. And it all goes back to what I've been saying for many, many months and years, in fact, that the problem is that the energy supply has been dominated by oligopolistic cartels who seem to set the energy bills where they like. EDF is part of a cartel that's now a big five. It used to be a big six. And they they actually have they set their bills as what they like. And so, what should be done about this? In theory, the country is regulated by Ofgem. For one thing, the leader of Ofgem, Jonathan Brearley, is paid £310,000 a year to be incompetent, as far as I can see. So the whole thing is an absolute mess. So what do we do about our energy prices? There's not very much we can do. It all goes back to privatisation. So what should we do? I don't know. I really don't know. And that's really all I have to say about energy matters today, I'm afraid. But it's a very, very worrying situation.
Is that all that's from Energy Matters today? That was only a short one today.
Yeah.
Well, I've been looking at some headlines on my phone, trying to find some interesting stories. There's still going on, but Ben & Jerry's is suing the parent company over Israel decisions. Have you heard anything about this?
About what?
Ben & Jerry's is suing its own company, parent company, Unilever.
No.
Well, Unilever is forcing them to sell their products in Israel, which Ben & Jerry's do not want to do. And now they're suing Unilever over it.
I mean, I've never heard of that one.
Really?
No.
Right, Ben & Jerry's is a very, the wokest of woke companies. They they aren't trying not to sell, they're trying not to sell Ben & Jerry's in Israel over the Israel versus Palestine stuff that's been going on for quite a while.
I don't quite know what the meaning of woke is, actually.
It's hard to define, but the best way to describe a woke is race socialism.
Oh, right.
So instead of socialism based on income, it's, you are black, you are oppressed. You need to be you need to be the CEO now, just because of the color of your skin, because you are historically oppressed. That's the best way I could describe it. It's race socialism.
Right.
But yeah, Ben & Jerry's is the wokest of that. And yeah, they really don't quite like Jewish people, it seems. But I'm not saying anything definitive. But they definitely don't want to sell their product in Israel. That's why they're suing Unilever over it. But have you found any interesting headlines in the Financial Times? Is there anything going on?
Yeah. There was a most interesting article.
The most interesting.
Most interesting.
The Financial Times over there.
Everything is most interesting. In the
I'm going to put this on the table behind us.
Okay, right.
I'll put it behind us.
Yeah. This one says Oslo heads off strike that threatens to sever UK gas supplies from Norway. Well, alarm bells started ringing in my ears at that, because Norway supplies 40% of our total gas supply.
Why are we cutting gas supplies from Norway?
We've always got it from Norway.
No, but why are we cut? What's going on with?
Well, I'm just going to try to find out. Strikes like threaten to sever. Right. The Norwegian government has intervened to end a strike by oil and gas workers that threaten to cut off gas supplies to the UK and Europe as they scramble for supplies to offset cuts to Russian output. Now, does this mean the old Russians have started poking their nose into this? Norwegian Labour Minister Mari Persson summoned oil companies and workers just late yesterday and announced the industrial action has been brought to an end. The strike had reduced gas supplies to the UK as much of continental Europe and pushed prices to their highest level in 4 months. The Norwegian government has the authority to intervene in labour disputes under certain conditions. There's been estimated that the strike could have cut Norway's gas output by almost 60% by the weekend. This makes you wonder whether the nice Mr. Putin has suddenly decided to interfere because this is terribly important. We get 40% of our total gas, as I say, 40% from Norway. Norway has abundant supplies of gas. And now they seem to have been tampered with and so forth. And I'm worried. So it was still comfortable that the UK would have no gas supplies. Workers have threatened to escalate. Yeah. I don't quite get this. The workers scramble the smoke. Norwegian moment. Yes, the industrial action had been brought to an end. The strike had been reduced. Threatened to cover as they scramble for supplies. Yeah.
So, briefly, what's the rundown of the story?
The rundown of the story is that it seems to me that the gas price has been going up exponentially, but Russia has actually been interfering in these kind of things and sort of withholding their supplies so that the other ones have to get, prices go up. And I think this is probably what happened, but I wouldn't be entirely sure. Now, if this is going to go on, it's going to be a real crisis for us all. Yeah. Now, maybe there's a bit more here. Russia, prior to the invasion of Ukraine, was supplying about 40% of European gas, but has cut back supplies in recent weeks, reducing capacity on the Nord Stream pipeline to Germany by 60%. That makes sense. What they're doing is cutting back so that the prices goes up and the workers want more money. Now, there's another interesting one.
Actually, we actually have a comment here someone's made, a live comment. It's a little bit long, but it's from Mickey Connors. Large comment. I'll try to read it best I can, but large blocks of text I quite struggle with. The Minister for Transport left because he knows about the planned fuel crisis. Hang on. He knows about the planned fuel crisis and knows that we won't have petrol or diesel after August or September. But this is all the New World Order's plan. All New World Order plans are subject to change. It's a complex situation. Brokers have bought up the fuel to either create a crisis brought up. I'm really struggling with this. I'm sorry. I'm quite dyslexic.
I'll have a read for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Can you see that from there?
No. The Minister for Transportation left because he knows about the planned fuel crisis and knows that we won't have petrol or diesel after September. But all the New World
Order plans are subject to change.
It's a complex situation. Brokers have bought up fuel to either create a crisis or bought up fuel for World War III. But at the moment, plans change every 5 minutes in the street. Silent war. Governments and all central banks have the money so that the beginning of the fuel problem was a way for them to raise fuel. Well, that's the first I've heard about it, and it sounds a bit airy-fairy to me, quite frankly. I don't know that brokers have bought up huge amounts. There's huge amounts coming out. Their production is going up and up every day. And BP is just, as it says itself, it's just printing money, basically. By bringing up and storage is a problem for them, I think. But America's got through huge reserves. So I can't see this happening, frankly. Just the price will go up. That's the problem. That's the real problem. The petrol at the pumps now is going up and up and up, isn't it? This is what inflation's about, largely, as well as energy prices.
Well, he has another comment, a shorter one.
Good.
That's shorter. We have BP in the North Sea, and we have no reason for the fuel shortage. Yeah, I agree. People who say that, within the next 10 years, there's going to be a complete we're going to run out of fuel, we're going to run out of oil. It's not true.
Actually, the North Sea, Mr. Connors, actually is running short on oil. It has been running short since 2014. Okay, what you are missing here is the west of Shetland, which is virtually a virgin field, and people like Shell have now got permission to go there, and other ones. What a lot of these people don't know, but when I found out in the when I was in the oil business, that a company called Faroe Energy, which was off the Faroe Islands, found, which are west of Shetland, of course, found that there was a lot of igneous rock there, and you couldn't actually drill for oil. So they packed up. So whether BP and Shell going on the west of Shetlands is a very different proposition. And I wouldn't now suppose that there's going to be an absolute bonanza of oil from that business. And for again, for clarity, the North Sea does have some oil left, but it's not, again, a bonanza.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Mickey, to speak to you personally, the other day you were leaving lots of comments. We couldn't get through all of them, but I personally do read every single comment as they come in live, whether I can show them because they're relevant or we've moved on from the subject and we don't bring it back up again. I still read all of the comments, no matter what, just to let you know. So if you don't think it's being seen, it is. I am reading every single one. There's some more comments here.
Go on the subject of oil. There's another one on the FT. Oh, well, it's not oil so much, it's gas.
Oh, oil.
Now, where are we here? Let me just find it.
Just a quick question. This word here, beginning with P, what does that say?
Huh?
This word here.
I can't read it.
Pollute.
Pollute.
The government pollute the strikes every day. With the chemtrails. Okay. Someone's getting a phone call. I thought it was my phone. I will say with the chemtrails thing, I really don't think the chemtrails are real. There are a lot of things I do believe in, a lot of conspiracy theories, but chemtrails I'm not convinced on. But I don't know. I would have to have a proper conversation with someone who knows about the chemtrails, like yourself, but you can't really do that over the internet. It's fairly difficult. But yeah, I'm not convinced by chemtrails. Sorry. But most other things, yeah, I can get behind. But chemtrails, I don't see why they would even do that in the first place, or how so many people can cover it up. When it comes to large conspiracies like that, it's like there are so many people have to be involved to cover it up that it's just like, how can so many people keep it silent? But that's just my opinion on that one particular thing. What did you find, by the way, Stuart?
Well, there's another story interesting here. Germany ready to buy stakes in gas groups. There's a surprise. Well, you know why. Germany gets 2/3 of its gas supply from Russia. And if Russia keeps mucking them around, they've decided that they're going to find some other places where they can buy the oil. Now, let's see what it says, though. Gas has become a scarce commodity. In the current situation, you have to make all options available in case of emergency. And to once again expand our toolbox. Toolbox? Yes, an official say. The aim, officials say, is to avoid repeats of 2008 when the collapse of Lehman Brothers cascaded through the whole financial market, helping to get the global crisis. That was the financial crisis of 2008. German energy sector has been in turmoil since mid-June when Russia state-controlled gas exporter Gazprom reduced flows through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline under the Baltic Sea. by 60%. Right. So cool. Now, Nord Stream 2 has not been allowed to go past because that will actually supply loads more gas, but it's been boycotted by the EU. So that's what perhaps has upset Mr. Putin, and he's trying to have
Mr. Putin.
have a go at Germany. Right. Deprived of Gazprom supplies, ports have been forced to procure plus on the spot market at much higher prices. Yes, that is really a problem. They've been made unable to pass on these costs to customers, most of whom receive gas under long-term contracts and are not open to renegotiation. Now, that is a very good point. Mr. Putin has managed to shove the price up so high that some companies, certainly English companies, have to buy them on the spot market. But Germany presumably has the money to do that. And that's what they're obviously going to do, but it's going to cost them quite a lot of money, I think. But they're just paying to get rid of Mr. Putin actually dominating their supply. Good for them. They can afford it. Good for them.
I'm trying to find some more good headlines. Okay. All right. Yeah, I forgot about to mention this one. So we've got it here as well. But more and more things are having security tags put on them. They have here in the Daily Mail and in the Telegraph here on my phone I'm looking at. Here we go. The headline for this: I can't believe it's not cheaper. Lurpak butter is going at a price of £7.25, and some stores are even putting security tags on Lurpak now, and there's even security tags on cheese, cheddar cheese. Well, what supermarket is this from? Let me see if I. Oh, pardon me. Let me see if I can show you this. Do you see this? There you go. You should be able to see that. That is cheese with security tags on it. And above is Lurpak with, that was on my phone, but the Lurpak have the same security tags as you get on like packs of batteries and stuff because it's easy to put in your pocket. And the cheese has security tags that you would find on expensive pieces of clothes are now on cheese. I mean, that's ridiculous. But it is getting expensive and it's easy to steal, so I can understand why they're putting them on there in the first place. But
next you'll need a sort of some kind of information lock to actually get into your fridge, really.
Yeah. Well, actually, there was a story that a couple of months ago that was calling a store racist. I think this took place in San Francisco or something. They were having a bigger issue with people stealing from the stores. So they've been putting things behind lock and key. So you have to go talk to a member of staff to say, "Can you open the display so I can take things?" And these were on hair products. And this was being called racist. Do you know why it was being called racist?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were only putting the things that were being stolen behind lock and key, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But the things that were being put behind lock and key were the black hair products. So hair products for black people. But they weren't putting behind lock and key hair products for white people. They were only putting the things that were being stolen behind lock and key.
So many black people didn't steal
No,
things.
they were just... I did not say that. I said they were putting the things that were being stolen behind lock and key. And that happened
to be white people.
To be the black people's hair products.
Yeah.
And that was being called racist in the news because you're only putting the black hair products behind lock and key and not the white ones. But the white ones weren't being stolen.
What products?
The black hair products were being put behind lock and key because those were the ones that were being stolen. But the white people hair products weren't behind lock and key.
So why is that racist? That doesn't make any sense.
I know, it doesn't. People call stuff racist all the time. It's the woke people we were talking about earlier, calling it racist for nonsense reasons. But I do find
racist, that it's racist to put black hair products behind lock and key.
Even though that's what they were saying, yes. But those were the ones that were being stolen the most. So that was awkward.
Well, you could make a case for racism there, actually, yeah. You could actually make a slight case.
How would you make that case? Because I struggle to think how you could make the case into racism.
Well, why would the black products for black hair or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Why would they be unnecessary to go into lock and key?
Because those were the ones statistically that were being stolen.
Right, yeah. Therefore,
that's why they put it behind lock and key, because those were the ones that were being stolen.
Right. So that testifies that those ones are racist. You know, the people have got. Oh, it's a very, very small case, but I think that you can probably say that's a bit racist, but the very, very marginally racist, if you see what I mean. If there's such a thing, yeah. Oh God, what will it be next? You know, what colour are your mother's toenails painted? That's very bloody racist, putting them in black, aren't they? You know.
Oh God, so many things are racist. I'll find a video of there's a compilation of a bunch of headlines that contradict each other from outlets. I have to find that. I can't find that today.
Oh, you can't go dancing with her. Her toenails are painted black.
I don't think it's going to be that extreme, but yeah, I do have a headline, but it'll take me a while to find because it's quite old. But I do have it saved somewhere. Do you want to have a look through some more headlines? What's going on? Oh yeah, this one would be interesting to talk about. So I'll read out the headline.
Ah, great! Yeah.
Cops struggle to catch criminals because their electric police cars keep running out of power.
Ah, well, that's not a surprise to me, because you see, electric cars are charged by lithium batteries, and they do not have the density for long trips. They run out generally after about 300 miles. You don't have that kind of density. I mean, if it was a hydrogen car, it would recharge. And back then, of course, lithium takes about an hour to recharge. So that's really quite something. Should we actually get the police to switch over to hydrogen cars? Probably not, because there's not enough new fueling stations to keep the hydrogen cars going. So maybe they might go back to fossil fuels. You never know, do you?
Well, I was actually having a conversation with a taxi driver, and he drove a fairly expensive Mercedes C-Class. And I started talking to him, and I said, are you ready to go electric yet for your taxi? And his was a privately owned taxi. It was his personal car. And I asked him that question, are you going to get an electric car next? And he said no, because it's actually, even with the price of fuel right now, it's still more cost efficient to buy a petrol-powered car, because it takes too long for the electric car to charge that he loses out on a lot of profit. Even though it's free to charge the car, he loses out on so much profit, he may as well just keep the petrol-powered car. So that's what's going on. Well, that's what I heard, anecdotal evidence, but that's what I heard from a taxi driver himself.
That actually surprises me a bit, because if he's just a local taxi, he's not going to be driving huge distances, is he? You would have thought.
No, you would have thought.
Well, maybe he's going from, say, Brighton or Lewis to Gatwick and back. I suppose that's quite a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But no, it's not going to be 300 miles, is it? As I understand it, an electric car can now do about 300 miles without recharging.
Only top of the line Teslas can, and you have to pay about. You're looking at £80,000 for one of those.
Well, I thought it was £60. 60,000.
No, that's for a mid-range one, and a bottom-range one you can get for about 40,000 pounds. But again, you're never really going to be going over 200 miles in one trip, usually. Especially, well, in other countries it's different, but in this country, no one really ever travels that far unless they're driving to somewhere like Cornwall.
Well, if you're going to Edinburgh, for example, you need some recharging halfway up. But because that's the whole thing, isn't it? Because America, there are huge distances. We're a small island as these things go, aren't we?
Yeah.
So electric cars should be red. But then, I've got this thing about hydrogen, as you know, about hydrogen cars.
Yeah.
I told you about my first hydrogen car, did I not experience?
No, you haven't actually.
Right. Well, up in the Shetland Islands, where I've got a home in the northernmost island called Unst. Okay, there's a guy there who's got two little wind turbines, and wind blows a lot of the time in Shetland, so there's an excess of it. So he puts it through, when the wind does blow, he puts it through an electrolyzer and gets hydrogen out, and he puts that back through a fuel cell, and then he puts the hydrogen in tanks, because in those days, that's the only way to store it. And you need a sort of container as big as the car just to get anywhere. And so he said, "Oh, that's a hydrogen car. This is one of the first licensed hydrogen car in the country. Would you like to drive it?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, how far would it get me?" He said, "We'll get you down to Lerwick, which is the capital of Shetlands, which is about 55 miles away from Unst." I said, hang on a sec. And I said, "How will I get back?" And he said, "That's the problem." And the thing is, of course, it's a chicken and egg situation. There were no hydrogen cars because there were no fueling stations. And there were no fueling stations because there were no hydrogen cars. And that has been a situation until very, very recently.
Yeah. There's only, 5 hydrogen stations in the country?
Is that right? Oh, there must be more than that.
I don't think so. I think there's only a few.
Well, ITM, there's a company called ITM, which we write about in my Green Barrel hat. There's more than that now. I think there's about 20 at least. But you compare that with Japan, where when they had the Olympics, they had about 400 hydrogen stations, because their Toyota Mirai is a hydrogen car. But we could certainly do with a lot more.
Okay, hang on. This comment here from Mickey Connors. Glastonbury electric charging points were powered by diesel generators. I have seen this multiple times. Do you remember when it was, what was it? What was going on in Scotland like a year ago? It was the Green Energy Summit or something. What was it in Scotland?
Oh no, that was Glasgow.
COP22 or something.
COP26.
Yeah. Everyone got an electric car there, but there aren't enough charging stations in Glasgow to charge the cars. So all the cars had to be followed around with trucks with diesel generators on the back to charge them. COP26, that was it. I'll show you this. I actually have a photo of one of them somewhere. The thing is, I got lots of things on my phone that I can show, but it's finding them that's always an issue. I'm finding them too slowly. But yeah, if your electric car runs out of charge, you have to call the AA, and they send a petrol-powered van towed by a diesel generator to charge your electric car if you run out of power. There we go. Here you go. Gas-powered van towing diesel generator to charge an electric car. The future is stupid. There we go. I'll try. Hey, let me turn my brightness down on my phone to get rid of the glare. So that's a petrol-powered van towing a diesel generator to charge an electric car. These things are ridiculous. But yes, the Glastonbury electric charging points were powered by diesel generators. I did not know that. If that is true, that is hilarious.
I'm surprised that anybody goes to Glasgow can afford an electric car.
Yeah, really? Well, my mum's going next year, actually. I don't know what. She asked me if I wanted to go. I was like, no.
My wife has been to about 34 Glastonbury's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I refuse to go.
Why do you refuse to go?
Well, I'm proud of her.
Oh, are you?
Hmm.
I was asked if I wanted to go to any music festivals, and my response was, well, there's no one I particularly want to see. Everyone I listen to is dead.
Well, Paul McCartney's not dead. Don't you want to see him?
Yeah.
He was
maybe.
rather good, actually.
I don't know. I like a lot of. I don't know. I would have loved to have seen AC/DC when they were all together before they. Well, I think half of them are dead now. There's only 3 remaining band members, but so I missed out on that. They died like quite a while ago. Some of them. But anyway, yeah. Let's keep looking through the back pages. Oh yeah, sorry. I did find this. This is what I was going to show you. So this is from, what was it from? The Huffington Post. So it says here from the Huffington Post, a parent's guide to supporting transgender youth. And then the article next to it, from the Huffington Post, think twice before cutting your dog's balls off.
Charming.
But these are from the same parent's guide to supporting transgender youth. Think twice before cutting your dog's balls.
Miss Huffington, she's an absolute bloody menace, that woman. She was actually such a social climber, wasn't she, when she was at university? You probably don't remember.
No.
She was a terrible social climber. She would,
I'll try to show this quickly. I just need to crop it so I can show it on full screen. So, from the Huffington Post, you can't see. Hang on a minute. No, you can't see it. But anyway, a parent's guide to supporting transgender youth, and think twice before cutting your dog's balls off. Interesting. 2 very different headlines, 2 very different opposing headlines from the same article, and even it's not the same writer, but still quite funny. What do you think about the whole transgender movement that's going on right now?
I don't know. I don't really understand it. Well, one of the ladies at Sussex University, my alma mater, she got a terrible pasting about it all and so forth and so on. And she made the point that the sort of, where you can't have total sort of thing, but because things like going into women's toilets or school things, the various things where you can't quite actually, can't have a complete change, if you see what I mean. There are certain things that a woman is only something a woman can do, if you see what I mean. Yeah.
You know, right, in Scotland, the law is a woman cannot physically rape a man. And that's been the law for quite a while. But Scotland also now has self-ID. So in Scotland, a man can identify as a woman, even though he is a fully biological man, even if post transition. And I can't remember the exact statistic, so I'm not going to say it because I don't want to mess it up. But rapes have gone up huge amounts from women to men because there are a lot of women with penises in Scotland because they brought in self-ID.
Really?
Yeah. Also, in California, if you identify as a woman, even though if you've not fully transitioned, you can be transferred to a women's prison if you get arrested. So if I get arrested and say, actually, I'm transgender, I am a woman, please put me in a women's prison. I can be put in a women's prison. It's the law. I have to be because of my gender identity. So there have been lots of cases in California of women in female prisons becoming pregnant.
Women becoming pregnant
in prison, in all female prison.
What you're saying, that they've been impregnated by
Men. In the female prisons.
In female prisons. So they're men.
Yes.
Oh, they haven't trans.
No, they just say they are. They just
yeah,
say,
well,
I
actually,
am a
matter
woman.
of fact, one of the people of my distant family is trying to train trans much in his 60s, which probably is a bit too late, so we're not quite sure.
Transitioned in the 60s?
Yeah.
In their 60s?
Yeah.
That's
not a very good idea.
That is quite late in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's been a humongous spike in children transitioning and children with gender dysphoria and saying they're a different gender. And
why do they want to change?
I don't know, but when I was in college, my class of about 12, there were 6 students who identified as they them.
They them?
Yeah.
What's they them?
They don't have a gender.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was so rife. I don't know.
It is, especially in Brighton. I don't know how bad it is somewhere up north like Burnley. I would assume not very popular.
Well, it's true. I mean, true. There's a lot of gay people in Brighton, aren't there? I mean, Kemp Town is now known as Gay Town, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of abuse, isn't there? There's a lot of queer bashing, as they call it.
Not back in your day, maybe, but not today. Now. No, that has been pretty much mostly eradicated. That doesn't happen anymore. The worst that happens is you get a mean tweet where someone says online that you're not really a real woman. So that's the worst thing that happens.
Yeah.
So I have another comment here from Mickey Connors. So it says here, the New World Order / people with no reproductive organs is their I can't read that word. Sorry, with my reading skills, honestly. Gender orientation / no gender. That's the words I was looking for, yeah. The chemicals in the food and the water is mucking around with kids' brains. Yes, I've read a lot about this. Do you remember what Alex Jones said about the chemicals in the water are turning the freaking frogs gay?
Yeah.
They are. They're not gay, but they're the chemicals in the water that are getting into the ecosystem, and they're changing the frogs into hermaphrodites. So they're turning the frogs from male to female from the chemicals in the water.
I think that the water companies have got an awful lot to answer for. An awful lot. In fact, I'd like to just have a little blurb about their festival. We're going to have a river festival in September in Lewes, and part of it is going to be an exhibition of in the gallery, the art gallery, the Star Brewery Gallery in September, of which I have been the sponsor. And this is basically painters by paint rivers and water and that kind of thing. And this is part of the campaign to actually bring people's attention to what the water companies are doing. You see, the water companies are actually monopolies. So there's no competition. And Southern Water was owned by the French, now owned by some Australians. They do the most abominable things. Dump sewage in the Ouse, dump it in the sea. They were fined £200 million, but that doesn't seem to have put them off their nasty ways. And it's something that's very, very, very serious, because it turns out that if the water treatment centres can dump waste into the environment, into the ground or into the sea, and get away with no penalties unless someone brings a charge against them. And nobody does, least of all the government. It's such a terrible scandal.
Yeah.
It really is. So I'm very happy to actually sponsor this program at the Star Gallery in September, because it's going to help bring attention to what a terrible business is. So remember that date, Star Brewery Gallery, and early September.
Well, the Mirador can do a little piece on that. Then.
Yeah, we're going to do a piece on
that.
Okay.
Another comment here. Hermaphrodite / something. I was trying to read that word for like 2 minutes. I don't know. Hermaphrodite / something are worshipping of satanic gods. Well, I can't say too much about it, but I did know someone who was a Satanist. 2 people, actually. 2 people who were Satanists. And both of them happened to be transgender. But I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. Nothing. Southern Water using graphene oxide to clean the sewage water, and the graphene oxide builds up in the kidneys. Does that say graphene? GRAPHENE.
Yeah, that is
graphene oxide. Southern Water using graphene oxide to clean up the sewage water, and the graphene oxide builds up in the kidneys. Yes, I have heard about this. That is quite concerning. So even their solutions are terrible for you. Baphomets are the... Okay, I can't read that out loud, but yes. Okay. I'll leave that on screen for a minute if you want to read the rest of that. I can't say it out loud because I don't want to get us banned from YouTube. I'm very familiar with YouTube guidelines and I don't want to say too much. Which is a shame. I can't say my real opinions on here because we will get kicked off immediately. But yes. So what other headlines are there? Help us stamp out the rip-off rebel firearms.
Rebate firms.
Oh, rebate firms. Rip-off firearms. What the hell did I really say? Rebate firms. Honestly.
Oh, yeah, that is a way. Don't forget it. You never get money back from them. But if you owe them money, they pursue you terribly.
Oh my God, yes. No, I know.
If they owe you money, if you owe them money, they pursue you like nobody. If they owe you, you never get it back.
Yeah.
Try and get it back is not an easy business. Mind you, I've managed to do it a couple of times.
That's how my mum ended up in quite a bit of debt. They made the mistake and said, oops, we overpaid you by thousands of pounds. Yeah. You owe us that now immediately. And we had quite a while of struggling through the years because of the debt of their mistake. It wasn't anything to do with us. Mm-hmm. They filed it wrong. They were giving us too much money. We didn't realize. And then they said, oops, you owe us multiple thousands of pounds. So, yes, I am familiar with these sorts of things. Okay, well, we're actually towards the end of this paper. We've gone through most of the back headlines. Caught. The loan shark who charged up to 100,000 PC. PC? I don't know what that is. Percent. Oh, 100,000% on loans.
Sounds like it, yeah.
What the? That's a little bit much.
It is, yeah.
God, 100,000%. Well, it's like that Amiga loans that used to, like the Amiga loans who used to be on TV. Oh, you can take out £100 to pay for to put a deposit on your new car, and then at the bottom of the screen, it has tiny little letters saying also interest rate is 1,200%. or something like ridiculous like that. Over 55s feeling the squeeze of the.
Oh,
Do you want to read this? Because this is
yeah, over
relevant to you.
55 feeling the squeeze, unlock 60, 70 million of property wealth every day. Now, this is what's known as equity release. But you realise some of the equity invested in your house. And you have to be very, very careful about this. Make sure that if you're taking some money out for the value of your house and you've still got a mortgage on it, you can end yourself up in a right old mess because somebody will take it away from you. So you've got to make sure that you're taking it for the very right reasons. For example, like people do take equity out of their house so that they can give a deposit to their children to buy their own houses. But I've known people say take equity out of it and spend it on going on a holiday in Bermuda and that kind of thing, and it doesn't work because the government, the people who's lent you the money or taken the money or did it for you will actually want the money back in due course. So it's a good idea in theory, but you've got to be sure that you haven't got a bunch of shysters rather than people who are trying to do you well. Equity listing is can be a scam, a real scam.
Your generation is most likely to be scammed, so you need to keep a very good eye out for it. It's always the very young people and the very old people who are most likely to be scammed.
Nobody's scammed me, mate. I know more about pensions just about anybody in the country.
Well, I'm going to put on I keep forgetting to put clips on. So we're going to watch a short video. I'm going to find one to put on. I say short, we'll probably put like a 5-minute video on. We're trying to break up the show more, so it's not just talking heads the whole time, is what I've been told. So we're gonna do that. Trying to find some that aren't too long but aren't too short. It's actually kind of difficult. So we are going to watch the first ever program Mirador TV ever did. We're only going to show about 10 minutes of it. So we're going to have a short 10-minute break, me and Stuart, but you are going to get to watch the very first episode and how much Mirador has changed over how many years? 5, 6 years?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, we're going to play the first 10 minutes of this, so enjoy. Did it work? Oh.
Hi, welcome to Mirador Television. This is local TV, but probably not local TV as you know it. We don't have much cash, so for one thing we have to do much of our stuff outside. We don't even have a studio. So we don't even have a weather presenter. but we will try to bring you the weather. So, when you see me with an umbrella, it's raining. So, when I have my walking stick, it's fine. If my hat blows off, it's windy. And if I'm wearing a bikini, it's hot. Not that you're going to see me in a bikini very often. The body's gone, you see. Not a pretty sight. But when it comes to mixed weather, well, we really have a problem. It's silly of us to serve up the same old rubbish that you can see on regular television, so we're serving up rubbish of our own. But I hope that it's nutty enough to bring you back to watch us again. Stick with us, Nutty TV. Now, what's what? What is a weekly look about the interesting things that happen in our town? Those of us who live here know about them, but to a visitor, they might find them very interesting. This is ancient Keir Street. It's said that in the early 1800s, the Prince Regent won a bet by driving a coach and four down it. The Norman Castle in Lewes, though small, is one of the oldest in the country. A wooden Saxon fort stood on the mound until 1080. Then William de Varenne, the first Lord of Lewes, built this stone bailey as his stronghold. A tiny castle for a tiny town. Famous celebrations of November the 5th. They're huge. Almost every one of the townsfolk takes part. He goes way back before the gunpowder plot to Queen Mary's burning of religious martyrs in the centre of the town in 1556. Free beer? Of course not. But this pub, the Brewer's Arms, is one of several independently owned pubs in the town. At one time in the 1800s, Lewes had 63 pubs and 17 breweries, and just a population of 9,000, but no free beer. Well, there are the Mirador cameras trying to keep a visual record of what goes on in the town. the famous Bluebell Railway. 11 miles of track carrying lovingly restored steam trains from Sheffield Park, just outside Lewes, to East Grinstead. The line opened in 1882. As the name suggests, the railway runs through wonderful bluebell woods, worth every puff. This is
That's all right.
Okay,
That's quite
so that was that wasn't even half of the first show Mirador ever did. That was about 6-7 years ago now, apparently. I think. But we got a few more stories. I've got one here in the back headlines of the Daily Mail. So this keeps happening around the country and around the world. But green protesters keep trying to destroy artwork. I don't understand why they are doing this, but they are. So they spray painted below the very famous, probably the most famous piece of artwork in history. The painting of the Last Supper. And they spray painted below it, "No new oil." These climate change activists keep finding new ways to piss everyone off. I don't usually swear, but they are. They're just getting on everyone's nerves. And they don't do anything useful. They just sit there and bang their drums.
Yeah, this is a
scream.
very interesting point, isn't it, Max? Why do they actually alienate everybody who could help them and support them? Extinction Rebellion was the first one who did it. And do you remember that they tried to affect the people going to work on the trains?
Yeah, they jumped on top of the
Train
trains.
pulled them off and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Now, what is the point of that? What good does it do anybody, including Extinction Rebellion? Does that
Nothing.
actually help us solve the issues of climate change?
No, of
For
course
example,
not. It loses the
I
support.
particularly had. I used to be chairman and I'm now honorary president of the Friends of Wormwood Scrubs. Wormwood Scrubs is a great 200-acre green space behind the famous prison. And along came the Extinction Rebellion and set camp there. Set a camp there, which was in fact illegal, but never mind. And every night they had huge bloody bonfires. Now they want to actually reduce carbon emissions, and yet they're having bonfires. What is the point? You know, they're sort of counterintuitive to themselves, aren't they, really? They really are. I can't understand them. And then they started annoying people on the motorways.
By gluing themselves to roads and bridges.
For God's sake, having goes at art in order to save the climate. Where is the link? I just don't understand these people. Do you?
No.
Are they just natural, protesters? This is all they've got to do in their lives. They protest about anything. I don't know. I've heard a couple of them on the TV and they sound complete nutters to me, but there you are.
They are alienating people like you who do care about climate change.
Yeah.
But then they go here and try to destroy artwork, like you saw the Mona Lisa, I'm sure, the other day.
Yeah.
They threw cake on it or something. I don't know.
Well, it's just madness, isn't it? It really is.
It is. And they alienate people who do actually care. Mickey Connors chimes in here and says, Extinction Rebellion, government funded.
What?
I don't know about our government, but I know they do have funding from George Soros. He's got his hands in a lot of different things. I wouldn't say government funded, but definitely George Soros funded, 100%. Maybe Labour funded, but I don't know about that.
I don't know. Extinction Rebellion. The only thing that should be extinct about them is them. But there are lots of protesters who go around the country because they've got nothing else to do.
No, they're always from rich families as well. They're always trust fund kids.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But you look, when the M25 was being done, They couldn't come up with a reason why they were doing this. They were just annoying everybody.
The best.
You're not going to reduce the emissions by annoying everybody, are you?
No, obviously not. But the best one I've ever seen is this one. It was on Sky News, and they were doing a protest outside an oil refinery, supposedly. But this was it. It was
What are they achieving?
Well, what they're saying is they want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking oil.
They were protesting.
Right.
They were protesting oil, but then they were protesting outside a cooking oil factory. Honestly, have you ever seen that clip?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, that is such a great clip. They are so.
Oh, they're all, it's so sort of hippie. Save the planet, man,
Yeah, if you couldn't hear what he said, he was a trucker being interviewed on Sky News, and the interviewer said, "What do you think about this?" And he said, "I don't quite know what they're trying to achieve here." And the interviewer says, "Oh, well, they want to stop the extraction of oil." And the trucker responds with, "Yeah, but this is a cooking oil factory."
Fantastic. This is a cooking oil. Yeah, and also things like McDonald's, right? They say we are going to be green, and then they cart all their fuel up, all their waste fuel up 200 bloody miles. So their carbon footprint is enormous. And look at Drax, so they were going to go, all these kind of things. Drax was going to give up coal and go into wood pellets. Yeah?
Yeah.
The wood pellets are made in Louisiana. So the carbon footprint of getting them over here and is enormous. It's incredible.
Mickey chimes in here again. They do stage events that then get eventually highlighted and pushed through to Parliament.
What?
And plus, you just said all of them come from the family of the elites. I didn't say the elites specifically. I said middle class and rich family where they don't have to worry about things. They're trust fund kids, not specifically the elites. But yeah, I get what you're saying on the second part.
Yeah.
But they are trying to get things pushed through Parliament, but they don't often get things through because even in Parliament, they have the same opinion as us. They're like, "What are you doing? You're being ridiculous. No one likes you anymore. You're making climate change activism uncool." I think that's a good point.
The greatest contradiction of all was that they said they boycotted all the newspapers and televisions, the media, the very people who could actually further their cause. I mean, it's just like a middle class, exercise, isn't it? Middle class sort of, thing to do, sort of thing.
Yeah, a lot of them are retired as well. You see the people gluing themselves to the road. There seem to be a lot of them are retired GPs, which is weird.
No, but it doesn't get you anywhere to annoy everybody. It really doesn't. People say, "Look, bugger it, I've got to get to work. I don't care about the climate."
Yeah. Mickey chimes in with a couple other things. Unfortunately, many of the people involved in Extinction Rebellion know nothing about the agenda, which I agree with. Yeah, they don't know where the funding comes through. They're just for climate change, man. They're just hippies. It's a psyop. Yes, absolutely.
Well, there are people in natural protesters. They just go from place to place.
Yes.
Oh, we'll go down there. We're going to boycott the liners down in Dover. Oh, we're going to boycott this lot. We're going to do it this week. Got something to do, man.
Yeah, they're usually trust fund kids who don't have to worry about anything. They are. It always seems to be the middle class because the poor people, like or me, I suppose, don't have time to go do these things. I need to make money. I need to be able to afford to even get to work. I can't just go off to some protest all the way up on the other side of the country. I don't have that sort of money, but these people do. And there's again a surprising number of retired GPs are in Extinction Rebellion.
Are there?
Yeah, there are. I had a teacher who was in Extinction Rebellion, and he left within like 2 months. He was like, "This, I'm all for climate change activism, but these people are useless. There's no organization. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no real solutions." And that's why he left Extinction Rebellion.
My transition to climate change activity is why I write about it. And I write about the shortage of investment in renewable energy.
Yeah.
And
just shout out to your company, greenbarrel.com.
Yeah.
Okay,
I get more done than I would do if I was protesting in the street, don't I?
Yeah.
People at least read it,
Yeah. But again, with the destroying the artwork, it doesn't make sense. They are the same people who were tearing down the statues during the Black Lives Matter riot. They are the exact same people.
I can understand that one a bit more, actually. I must say.
I don't agree with the tearing down the statues. I agree with if a local town wants to vote on removing a statue, then absolutely fine, go ahead. You get what you vote for.
Yeah.
But just tearing it down and being reckless like that, it is ridiculous. And it's these just stop oil people and just say no to oil.
What result does it have? It doesn't have much result, does it? In fact, black people get better treated. They're still treated very badly.
Not in this country, they're not.
Well, not to the same degree as in America, but there is still, a police animus towards black people.
No.
You think they stopped now? Because they were definitely targeted much more than white people. Definitely.
By stop and search is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back around to what we were talking about with the hair products that were being sealed off. They were sealed off because they were being stolen more often.
Yeah.
The police were stopping and searching young black people more often because statistically there's a higher chance of them having a weapon on them.
Is that right? Is that actually correct?
Yes, sure? That's why they stop and search black people more often. Yeah. Not because of, a black person must stop him, must make his day.
A lot of white kids have got knives on them.
Exactly, yeah. It's also an area base.
Look at New Haven, where there's lots of knife crime. Not many black people there.
No.
You would be very pushed to find half a dozen black people in New Haven. But there's lots of knife crime goes on there with young kids. It really is.
Yeah. There's a lot in Crawley as well.
Yeah. I don't know about Seaford. There is life crime here now, isn't there? In Lewis.
Is there?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I'm happy to say the town I grew up in, there's never been a murder.
Really?
Look, there's never been a recorded murder.
Where's
recorded. That? Cookfield.
Where?
Cookfield.
Cookfield, really?
It's only a town of 3,000 people anyway. But... Yeah.
So there's lots of social sabotage.
It's a very safe community where I live, luckily.
What's a small town? I must read you this.
Where are you going to get?
I'm just going to get my book over there.
Oh, your book, okay. Okay, there is another comment from Mickey again. Could I just say to you, Mickey, sorry about the way I've been reading your comments. I'm very slow mentally. But when it's these big wall of texts, I really struggle to read these because there's just so much, and my dyslexia, they blur between the lines, they get mixed up, so I struggle to read your bigger comments. But short and to the point is probably better because I can get through those pretty easily. Like to to the point. Understand. I'll break them down. Yeah, maybe in like 2 parts. Yeah, it's a good idea. Just so I can actually get through your comments, because I do want to read your comments, but when it's just a wall of text, I can't. Stuart's no better. He's not great with reading.
I'm not very good at reading.
No.
Come
Well, I've
on.
heard you read.
Reading.
I've heard you read before, and you're as bad as me.
Bullshit. I'm sorry, I don't buy that one.
Yeah, I know.
I am a very
When you
prolific. I'm a prolific reader.
a very prolific slow reader. You read out the headlines like can even Boris can even Boris the grease piglet wriggle out of this one? You do struggle a lot. I think you should probably get tested for dyslexia. Not that it is too late anyway. You can't change anything about it. It'd be too
You
late.
think I should break dyslexia?
Yeah, I think you have dyslexia. Genuinely.
Oh, really?
Genuinely.
No, I don't.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
positive.
All right.
I think back in the day, I might have been diagnosed with ADHD-driven dyslexia, but I certainly do not have dyslexia.
Okay. All right.
And
Extinction Rebellion had a march in Bristol in 2020, or early 2021. The statues came down. Yeah, I do remember this. The same day, the police left a van outside the police station. Yeah, didn't they burn that down or something in Bristol? They had some riots. Oh, okay. I didn't know this. This is interesting. Tax insurance and the MOT was running out on the van. Extinction Rebellion torched the van. Oh, interesting. I would have done a registration check. Interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that happened. Yeah, they were the only riots we had in the UK during that whole time, with the whole Black Lives Matter, Extinction Rebellion, and that lot. They just glue themselves to bridges like morons. They don't do much else. We didn't have any riots. If they had done a registration check, they wouldn't have helped the police get a new van. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I like that. But yeah, I mean, leaving that van outside the police station, they knew it was going to get torched, and it did make them look awful. It made them look terrible. Not the police, but the rioters, obviously. Many different channels were live streaming the riots on all platforms. Yes, I do actually remember watching that live. What the riots that were happening in Bristol in
I saw some of it.
yeah. That was a year ago, or a year and a half ago now.
Well, I don't do street protests. So
And this is why I think they work for the government. I don't think that's them working for the government. I think that's the government helping themselves out with their retardation. That's what I think. What's in your little book? What was it you wanted to show?
Oh, it's this one there. It's just about, I come from a place originally called Colonsay in the Hebrides. And there's a guy who writes about it. He's called John McPhee, and my real name is McPhee. And he's written a wonderful book called The Cloister and the Laird. And he says, I was talking about when you were talking about small towns. I'm not dyslexic, it's just that it's very bad print. The usual frictions, gossip, and supreme social espionage that characterizes the small town are grandly magnified in a small island like Colonsay. I like that description of a small town. My wife was brought up in New Zealand. My previous wife was brought up in New Zealand. She loved our house in Lewis, but was put off by what she called the curtain moving syndrome, which was rife in Lewis. Everybody wanted to know your business, sort of thing, which is true in small towns, you know what I mean? And the social espionage, the social sabotage, as he calls it, it's really quite rife in Lewis, you know, the gossip about what's it, all people in Lewis and stuff. Someone told me today there's an incredible amount of wedding, or what is it, marriage swapping, wife swapping rather. Wife swapping, is that true? I don't know.
Swingers?
Huh?
Are you talking about swingers?
I know the word swingers. Wife swapping is swingers, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You
young
know, I
man,
wouldn't be surprised.
Mm.
What was that you were going to say?
Well, a young person like you should know about these things.
I have spent a lot of my time on the internet. So.
Are you autistic then? A lot of people on the
Probably.
internet, because they don't like.
Probably.
You know what autism involves? Social problems, mixing social.
Well, no, I don't have social problems. I can very easily talk to people. Unlike most people my age, I can actually just have a conversation.
Well, a lot of autistic people shrink into the internet and so forth. So.
Yes.
I talked to my ADHD advisor, and I said, "Am I autistic?" She said, "No. ADHD people are just on the margin of autism, but they don't have that problem about social
It's a spectrum,
yeah.
That's what we hear a lot.
But I'm not. I'm certainly not dyslexic. I tell you that. You try reading that; it's so faint print, sort of thing.
I can't read anyway, so why am I even trying?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna end the show in a minute. There's a couple more comments I want to get through from Mickey. I'll just go through them as quick as I can. I want to get through them though. And this is why I think they work for the government. Again, I'm not sure. They are Soros funded, government funded. I'm not sure. The front of the police station was smashed in. Yeah, I remember that. Backup waited till the police station was about to get overrun before coming to the aid of those trapped in the police station. I don't remember that, actually. I don't remember that part. But, yeah. I don't have much to say about that because I don't know anything about that. And during the day, the police put all cars and vans behind the gate, but left out the one with tax and insurance running out. That's interesting. I didn't know. I mean, this is the first time hearing of it from you. But that's. I don't know. It's quite funny.
How would the police know that the insurance was running out?
Because it's their vehicles.
Huh?
I said because it's their vehicles.
Mm.
Plus, they left the van unlocked with riot equipment in it, shields, vests, and helmets. I don't remember that.
Hang on. Where does the insurance come into it? You don't have you have a disc on your thing for your account for your.
Yeah.
You don't have the insurance disc showing.
No, but they purposely left out. What he's saying is they purposely left outside the one van that was running out of insurance and tax, and that's the one that got burnt down. And they got a nice new shiny van after that.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
So that's what he's saying. I was watching. I was watching Tyrant Fighter UK on YouTube. Tell them the van was torched and they claim on insurance. Yes, I just did. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I just said. Okay, so have you got anything else?
No.
Well,
apart from Boris, I think Rahab trusts and go stand by leader, but Tory sense beginning of the earth of God. Oh, I hope this is quick. I hope this is a quick death for Boris rather than going on and on and on and on.
I don't know. I think it's going to drag out until for the next 18 months. I don't see him resigning. I don't see him getting re-elected either, though. I think someone else is going to be put in.
Well, I think we've got problems with, if they had another conference vote, he'd probably win that again, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he would. Because he's obviously...
Because there's nobody else really, sort of thing. Because, none of them, that's the whole point, you see. He packed his cabinet with second-rate people, and none of them are really up to it, really. It wasn't like, the old Harold Wilson, well, you wouldn't remember, but old Harold Wilson, cabinets. He was a talented, a talent of the Ministry of the Talents, wasn't it? It was all kinds of people like Boyd Jenkins, Dennis Healy, Jim Callahan, all kinds of talented men. Well, who are this lot? They're shambles, aren't they?
Well, I'm going to leave off for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. You keep the conversations going and keep them more lively. So if you do want to comment more, and other than Mickey Connors, if you're someone who's watching that doesn't comment. You can talk to us and we'll respond to you. We try to get through every comment. And even if we don't, I personally still read every single comment. So if you think it's gone unseen, it hasn't. So I will see you guys on Friday. I'll be in on Friday. We'll be on tomorrow at 8:30 till about 11, half 11. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.